Hello, everyone, and welcome to iReadit, bringing you your weekly dose of the internet for March 31st, 2019. I am Michael Schwan.
And I am Shelby Hessen.
Welcome, Shelby. To everyone, before you begin to ask, Nathan is not here today. We knew that Shelby was going to be joining us today, and Nathan said, I'm going to take this opportunity to get some extra sleep. And I don't blame him because he stays up way too late on Saturday nights. So he is not here, and we have the wonderful Shelby with us in his stead for the time being. Please remember that you can help support this show by going to patreon.com/dailyinternet. You can pick up some of our merchandise in the link below. Otherwise, if you have anything that you want to say to us, if there's something you want us to talk about, if there's something that you need to say to us because you believe we got something wrong or our opinions suck, or if you just want our opinion, or if you just got something, what do you think about this? Because like Game of Thrones starts in like 2 weeks or whatever. Send it to anywhere that you like, but preferably places that you can actually get in contact with us, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Reddit. All of those are at iReaditCast. So, Shelby, how are you this morning?
I am pretty grand. Got my coffee. Got my puppy love going on here. Yes. 5-course meal for my little fur baby. How are you doing today?
I am sitting here also with my coffee, which is my 5-course meal for me as just being the big baby that I am.
Perfect. We got it. We're ready.
Yeah, I actually do intermittent fasting, so I normally don't eat till like 1 p.m. Like my breakfast, my breakfast literally is coffee.
Yeah, I was doing that for a little while. I was doing the 11 to 7 intermittent fasting, and I never realized how hard it was to wait until 11 o'clock in the morning to eat. So that was a real trial in my life.
Yeah, I try to stop eating at like 9 p.m. and then don't eat till 1 p.m. So.
Oh, man.
I
really like to snack.
Yeah, right.
Really do.
If it gets too much, I'll grab a rice cake and put just a thin layer of peanut butter on the top. And I'm like, all right, shut up, hunger. Get over yourself.
Huh, sounds like somebody I know. Interesting.
I've also...
Good snack choice.
I've also lost almost 30 pounds at this point, so...
Nice.
It's working.
I've lost about 14.
Yes.
We're doing it.
Power success.
We're doing it. What's your secret? How'd you get all that weight off?
Literally, I stopped drinking soda and I cut out as much sugar from my diet as possible, and that's literally about it.
Oh my gosh. I just have to point out that every time a dude stops drinking soda, they drop like 30 pounds immediately. When I stop drinking soda, I just get really, really mean and really cranky. Don't sleep well. Shiver at night. It's really tough.
Well, I've also been doing the intermittent fasting as well. So, I'm skipping breakfast every morning. So
yeah, there you go.
But really what I found for most people that I've talked to, it's just get rid of sugar. Like any way that you can get rid of sugar is just going to help you regardless.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. I think somebody had mentioned to me at one point that it was like 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And so every time that I would eat something sugary, I would just picture myself doing a line of sugar. And I was like, dude, that's not okay.
I don't know. That sounds pretty epic. I like there's definitely times in my life that I'm just like, can I just dive into like just a pile of sugar right now? Which gosh. Like back when I was a more unhappy person, when I was actually consistently dealing with bouts of depression and stuff like that, my comfort food I put in massive bold quotation marks, was literally to just get brown sugar and a glass of milk and sit with a bowl of brown sugar and eat the brown sugar just straight, not on anything, just spoon brown sugar.
Sir. Whoa.
That's a level of depression that people shouldn't get to.
Yeah, in my deepest, darkest depression, it wasn't so much eating bowls of brown sugar. It was more of like, I'm single and I'm rich and I can order whatever food I want, probably pizza. There was a point that I was eating like four nights out of the week was like all pizza, especially breadsticks, like an abundant amount of marinara sauce. So I hear what you're saying.
Pizza
I had
diet.
me and pizza, we've got a real relationship.
Pizza diet.
Oh, yes.
So good.
Oh,
all right.
yes.
Shall we talk about some news?
Let's do it.
I'm going to put this in here as just the Mueller report. Which button? I'm gonna go with this one. Wow, that's way quieter. Hang on. Should be louder. Oh shit! Oh shit! There we go. All right, so we're going to first, before we talk about anything else on the news over the last week, because we had to aggregate all of this into just one section on its own, because otherwise it would have devoured literally every news topic for the entire week, which is the Mueller report. So to quickly, as fast as I can, summarize, Robert Mueller is the special counsel of the FBI that was appointed to to continue the special investigation of the FBI into the 2016 presidential campaign, mainly to see what Russia did in what ways. It led to a massive number of indictments, some of which were connected, some of which were not. Robert Mueller has turned in his special report to the Attorney General, or I don't think he's actually been confirmed yet, but anyway, William Barr. It's a 300-page report that no one besides the people in the FBI, in the special division of the FBI, and William Barr have seen it. Nobody else. William Barr apparently read it over. That's what we've been told anyway. Read over this 300-page report. He drafted a 4-page summary, which basically said that they did not find any express interconnection between the Trump campaign and Russia. They have no further indictments. They have no further subpoenas that they need or intend to do. And while they have said that the president, they are not confirming nor denying any level of obstruction, collusion, anything like that, just merely saying that they don't have enough on their side to make that determination, and instead turn that determination over to the Attorney General's office, of which the Attorney General and William Barr and the Assistant Attorney General Rod Rosenstein made the determination that the president was exonerated of any potential crimes, essentially, involving collusion with the Russian government to get elected in the 2016 presidential election. Now, we've only gotten a 4-page report. We have not seen the full 300-page report, which has most everyone upset for multiple reasons. One, it was William Barr, who was appointed by the president, who made the determination that the president wasn't guilty, which, why would your right-hand man throw you in jail? So that's one question that's been raised. Another one is a 4-page summary really enough to cover a 300-page report? If the report is so good, it is so clean, it is exonerating, why can't the public see it? Most of Congress has requested it, including a 420-0 vote in the House of Representatives to have it released to the public, which Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Mr. Turtleface, has blocked multiple times, despite saying that he believes in an openness and transparency of the Mueller report, but he keeps unblocking it. And 87% of Americans, including 80% of Republicans, are also agreeing that they want to see the full Mueller report released. Bam!
Whew, that's a lot.
Yeah, that was, like, we want to talk about a 300-page summary being summarized in 4 pages. I just grossly summarized all of that. Yeah,
no, and for them to only release 4 pages, I mean, what is it? The first page is going to be the cover page, and then it's going to be the title page, and then there's going to be like, he didn't do it on the last page. That's what I think.
It's not even 4 pages from the report. It's 4 pages that the Attorney General himself wrote with cherry-picked quotes from the actual report.
Yeah, that sounds like a mess and like a little fishy to me. What do you think about that?
Well, so like there's a couple parts of it here. Like, one, I do believe I do see the potential that William Barr is protecting the guy who gave him a job. Because that's just kind of what that's a very natural thing that I think happens. While people would like to believe that, you know, people are a bit more like honest in like their work and stuff like that. Like, I mean, a lot of people do what they need to do to protect themselves, especially when shit sucks as much as it does right now. But I'm not out right now to just be like, yeah, William Barr is obstructing justice by, you know, giving his boss a favor. That said, I would like to see the report, even though I'm sure I probably wouldn't understand most of it. But on that same line, though, when this all initially started, me and Nathan had a conversation about the potential outcomes of this. And there are so many people right now that are upset about this outcome. They think it's a bunch of malarkey. They're like, there's no way. And it's like, you know, I do have trust in the FBI to do their jobs, and I do believe that everything they found is culminated in that report. And if it ends up that that report shows that Trump didn't collude with Russia and cheat his way into the presidency, isn't that a good thing? Like, everyone's treating it like if Trump is not guilty, that is the worst case scenario. And it's like, no, technically to me, that's the best case scenario, because that means our president didn't cheat his way to office with a terrible foreign government.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. You know, because if it does show that he didn't do anything wrong, then why won't they just show it to us? But I think if there hasn't been 100% total corruption in this situation, I think he definitely had some help getting there, and maybe that's what they're trying to cover up. I don't really know. But,
well, I mean, even if there is something in the report that indicates that he, you know, tried to pull some strings or something somewhere, like if it doesn't actually fit the definition of obstruction of justice or collusion with a foreign government, there's still, like, the Attorney General is still the one that gets to make that determination. And while we can, you know, hoop and holler and complain all day, that still is what the final result is. But the other part on here is that one of the reasons that have been offered in terms of why we're not getting the report is because some of it could be considered, what's the term? Technically classified, but classified because it is, it's
pertaining to our president?
Not necessarily the president, but pertaining to national security risk.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. So they're apparently right now, the Attorney General's office is going through it to see if there's anything that needs to be redacted for the sake of national security. Because it was a, you know, FBI special investigation, so I'm sure there are things in there. But the other thing is like, even if there are signs that maybe Trump did something wrong, but we just can't prove it well enough, it's not like we don't have mountains stretching into the cosmos of all of the other ways that he is just a bad person.
Yeah, he is a terrible human being. Terrible human being.
But, like, I would personally rather not see that he is just completely paid off by Russia and is literally Putin's puppet. That, like, I don't like Trump, but I would prefer him to not be a tool.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, he kind of is already as a tool, but in a different way.
Yeah, he's there. He's there.
So, we'll have to see what happens moving forward, because now the fight is just give us the Mueller report. And if we get it, well, I don't know what happens after that. Maybe nothing. Maybe then people are just, you know, happy to move on to whatever they want to complain about next.
That would be real sad. That's not an ending to this thing that I would like to see.
Depending on what's in it, I think we're already at the ending, though.
You think so? But we haven't, like, it hasn't been decided if we get to see it yet. And then if we do, it's going to be so redacted that we're only going to have the, a, and of, the only words that aren't redacted on that entire report. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens in this situation. It's definitely interesting.
Well, I think like I was trying to say is that if there's nothing really in it that changes anything beyond what we already know, then we're already at the end of what this investigation has. I mean, if it does get released and there's something in it that has something extra, which I'm sure like the Democratic campaign committee and stuff like that are going to open their own investigations. They already have several open, and then if the Mueller report gets open, I'm sure they'll open more of their own, because that's just what the Democrats like to do right now, is just investigate everything and hope that they can just keep throwing things around, which, I mean, on the Republican side, all they're just doing is just saying no to anything and everything, no matter what it is. So
yeah,
I don't know. We need another election or 4.
Yeah, we need something else, anything.
All right. But that is the Mueller report. Good Lord. Let's move on from that and talk about other news. Yay.
10.
Dr. Dre boasts about daughter getting into USC all on her own, then remembers $70 million donation and deletes his Twitter post.
And that was submitted by Bunny Yip Pouch, MH to r/music.
So,
Is that right?
Yeah, we don't need the MH because that's technically stuff from Reddit. Just the names before the
Gotcha.
MH. You're
Okay.
good though. So there's this whole fiasco going on right now of like Aunt Becky from Full House going to jail because she bought her kid's way into very prestigious schools. And so amongst all that, Dr. Dre goes on to Twitter and is like, "Yo, check it out. My daughter got into USC all on her own merits." I mean, which could be true, but
Maybe.
he also gave $70 million to USC for a program like 10 years ago. It was quite some time ago, but it's still it's still not just something that's just like, oh yeah, completely on
Yeah,
your
she did
own.
it all on her own. Mm-hmm.
I mean, technically it's not the same as like what Aunt Becky did, Lori Loughlin, because she literally just paid administrators large sums of money to let her kids in, where he made large donations and hoped that would equal into acceptance, which, I mean, it looks like for all intents and purposes it did. But yeah, he got caught with a foot in his mouth.
Oh, he sure did. I mean, I just imagine Dr. Dre just throwing so much attitude, like, my daughter, she got in there on her own. And then someone's like, hey, you remember that 70 million that you donated, a little while ago? Oh, yeah. That's the way I envisioned that whole situation, which, I mean, the whole thing it's really sad. There's so many people in this country that they don't get the education that they want because there's not a spot for them because it's saved for some, well-off person that was able to pay their way into a school like USC. It's really sad.
Literally have no hope of being able to afford it in any capacity.
Yeah, it's a messed up situation. And then Lori Loughlin, she's a star on one of my favorite shows, One Calls the Heart. And I was really upset because my boyfriend was like, "Oh my goodness, did you see this?" And I looked and it was her, and I was like, "Oh no." I mean, I don't know. I guess I didn't think that happened in this country. I was my eyes were really open in this situation because I was shocked when I saw it. And Jenny, we actually had a conversation about it. And it was just, I mean, she completely paid for her daughter to go to school. That's not okay. Like, she paid for her to get into school, not even paid for school.
Yeah, dropping massive K's of cash onto people, being like, "Yo, I need my kid in this school," and they're like, "Yo, I got you, boo."
Yeah, have you seen her daughter's Instagram stuff?
No.
It was, oh my goodness, it's pretty, in my opinion, it's just not super tasteful, and I feel like she didn't even want to go to college. She wanted to get in because it's USC, but she didn't want to go to school. You know what I'm saying? She didn't want to learn. She wasn't there to get a degree. She wasn't there to better herself, is just what I gathered from that whole situation and reading all the articles that I read.
Well, I mean, a lot of that doesn't surprise me. I mean, with the people that are honest about the way that the world that we just kind of look up from below to see is really just about, like, you don't need as much or to work as hard as most people on our level do, because your status is already establishing you to just kind of do whatever you want. And when they just buy their way into things like USC, it's kind of to them, it's literally just a line on a piece of paper that says, "I'm somebody special."
Yeah.
And then they go off and do whatever they want because dad gets them a job.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate because you're not teaching your children anything at that point. You're just teaching them that if you throw some cash around and you throw your name around, that you can have whatever you want. And I don't know. I like to think that if I had won the lottery tomorrow and I had $700 million, that I would still, live as if I'm poor. Granted, we'd get a couple of new things, maybe a house, maybe a new car, truck, Jeep, whatever. But I'd still want to instill in my son, hey, you got to work hard to be somewhere. You got to work hard to be somebody.
You're
And these
gonna
children are not being brought up that way.
pull a Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
He is extremely
He's an amazing father. Like, amazing. I love his parenting style. And his kids are amazing. They're great kids.
Yeah, and he doesn't allow his kids any type of ease in life simply because he has a lot of money. He still forces them to do things the way that they would if he wasn't a multimillionaire, because, well, you need to learn life skills all the same.
Oh yeah, that's a super valuable lesson, especially when you are a multimillionaire and you can afford to have somebody else teach these kids these lessons, but you're not, which is, that's a real started from the bottom, now we here type of thing that I'd like to get into someday. So,
considering our president believes that you have to have a driver's license to be able to shop at a grocery store.
Yeah, that's a real misconception, Mr. President. Real misconception.
Oh,
right,
Lord.
I'm just getting another cup of coffee here. It's that time.
I like coffee.
I do as well. I'm on cup number 2.
Awesome. I just got a really big cup. All right, number 9. Michael Avenatti arrested for alleged $20 million extortion attempt on Nike.
Surprises no one.
This was submitted by Think Something Clever to our news. So Michael Avenatti recently became somewhat of a celebrity lawyer, and I don't mean that he is a lawyer for celebrities. I mean that he is a celebrity, mostly because he was the attorney that was representing Stormy Daniels in the whole case involving Stormy Daniels and President of the United States, Donald Trump. But it looks like the fame and fortune might have gotten to him a little bit. He was trying to extort now up to $25 million from Nike by threatening to publicize claims that the company's employees were authorizing payments to the families of top high school basketball players to encourage them to accept sponsorships as well as particular play deals. He was also separately charged with a case in Los Angeles for embezzling a client's money to pay for his own expenses and debts because, well, people get way over their head if they're not prepared for it. Overall, he faces up to over 100 years in prison if he's convicted on both cases, as well as a possible disbarment as a lawyer. And he maintains his innocence though, and says that he will never stop fighting that good fight, and that believes that the law he will be fully exonerated and justice will be done.
Wow, 100 years in prison. That's kind of what stuck out to me the most. That's a lot of years.
Yeah, but you see, he's really rich, so that's not gonna happen. Rich people don't go to jail, and if they do, it's not for very long, and they don't go to regular jail. They go to rich people jail.
Oh, rich people jail. I wonder what that's like.
He might have to relax on a couch for a couple of years before he's allowed to go somewhere again.
That's rough. That's rough.
Just the worst.
I don't know how he's going to make it. I really don't.
I would just, that just sounds like utter suffering.
That is torture. That is just poverty level stuff right there.
Oh, man. That's painful to even try to say.
I know. Oh, man. 100 years, though. That's what stuck out to me the most. I'm like, not too sure.
That said, it's one of those cases of like a rich person trying to screw over rich people, and I'm like, can y'all just eat each other? Seriously.
Yeah, can you spread some of the wealth after you're done devouring each other, please?
It's those trickle-down economics, right? Once my bowl is full that I keep making larger, it'll trickle down to your bowl.
In a perfect world, that would be great. I'd accept that in a semi-perfect world. But I don't know. These people have so much money. It's ridiculous sometimes. I don't know how much you can need. I'd be happy with $5,000. I'd be happy with $200.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, man, yeah, 200 sounds real helpful right now.
It really does. And like when I put away cash, I'm like, oh man, this $20 is going to save my life for the next 3 days until I get paid.
Yep,
I'd
exactly.
like to just make it through a pay period without going broke. That's my life goal.
It's a nice
right
thought,
now.
right? You're like, oh man,
I
that sounds
know.
nice. Wonder what that's like.
And most everybody I know lives like this. I don't know anybody that makes it to payday without going a little broke like a couple days before.
Well, most people live like this.
I know.
And there are just more and more people that live like this. Whereas, there's, multi-billionaires that are just like, I got more money than anyone in the world should ever have, and I'm just gonna keep it. I mean, there are some that like I give passes to, like Bill Gates, because like, yes, he is worth $80 billion, which is an excessive amount, but he is using ridiculous amounts of money to do incredible things around the world. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, he just dumps money into to try and cure all kinds of diseases that are affecting tons of children in Africa. And it's like, all right,
yeah, you're a good human being. You're not garbage. You're good.
Good on you, sir. And he's like, yep. And then when I die, I want all of my $80 billion to just be given away to as many different charities to help the world as much as possible, because I don't actually need all this money. And it's like, okay.
Exactly. That is beautiful. I mean, because what are you going to do with it when you're dead? It's better than some people who are like, I will all my riches to my cat Fluffy. Why? Why would you do that?
Because they are that self-absorbed.
Because they are terrible.
Like, they are that hyped up on the smell of their own feces. That's why.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And Bill Gates has even said, he's like, I could technically get rid of all my money right now. I don't need this much. All of my stuff's paid off. I could probably live for however many years I have left on maybe $100,000 just sitting at my house. But he's also said, this money offers me power and a position to do things that I know other people in this position won't do. So it's like, that's fair. Like, unless you are one of those hyper elite people, the other elite people will just ignore you and look down on you. Whereas you can't ignore Bill Gates because of what he is and what he has.
And what he's created. I mean, he has created this crazy empire, but he's doing good in the world. And, I appreciate that more than anything. I like to think that if I was in his position, that I would do the same good as well.
Yeah, take notes, Jeff Bezos, you piece of garbage.
Oh, man.
God, is he just a crap person.
I like to refer to people like that as dumpster people or garbage person. Just got a couple of good terms. Those are the G-rated ones.
Just anything negative. I mean, even person seems a little too good for them at times.
Oh, yes.
Moving on.
Garbage thing.
8.
All right.
New Jersey approves bill allowing terminally ill patients to end their lives.
What do you think about that?
I think it was submitted by one person, one idea to our news. I think it's. You're fine. I think it's fine. I have no issues with this whatsoever. They just signed legislation allowing terminally ill patients to seek life-ending medicine. If you can't fix them, like if they are just suffering until finally their body gives up and they want to make that decision, they should be allowed to make that decision.
Definitely, they should. And I don't know if you knew this, but I used to work in healthcare. I have seen people on that end, cancer patients just basically waiting for the end. And it's awful to watch. I can't imagine what it's like to go through that. You should be able to choose your end if that's what you're going through. That's my personal belief.
I mean, like, I understand the people that are like, I understand pushing back against the people that are like, we should have suicide booths because if people want to die, we should just let them die. And it's like, no.
That's extreme.
A lot of people that like jump off the top of buildings, they just are in a very deep, dark place at that point in time. Trust me, been there. And they actually can be helped and need help, and they do need it. Whereas if somebody's body is murdering them slowly in a torturous way that we cannot help them, and they are just like, please just let it end. It's like, okay.
Yeah, just make it stop. Yeah, let them do their thing. Let them live until they're done, you know?
Like, and it doesn't really say much in terms of the process of what permits someone to be qualified to make this decision. But like, on the general sense of, should we let someone that is terminally ill terminate their own life? Sure.
Yeah. Let them do what they, I mean, they're dying. Let them do what they want with the rest of their life. Let them choose their end, you know, let them live every day until it's their last. That's not the way that I live my life is with things like this is just like, it's not my business. It's not happening to me. It's not my business.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I think that if you're on the end and you're in pain and you're suffering and you don't want your family to suffer, the only thing, I had talked about this with a friend of mine, the only thing is that, like, life insurance, how is this going to affect life insurance policies and, you know, what's left for the family and the whole will process and all of the estate, like all of that stuff is kind of up in the air when you choose to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, that's something that I'd want to keep in mind if I was going down that road somewhere towards the end, you know?
Which really, I think that's just a problem with the process itself, is that those types of services or processes just need to catch up, essentially.
Yeah, with the rest of the world.
I mean, we both work in government, and so we both experience the problem of that a lot of things involving government haven't been adapted to the explosion of technology over the last 10 years.
Nope. The birth of the internet, they're not with it.
And so it's like, how does this work with the internet? And it's like, it doesn't say. I don't know.
The internet doesn't know.
So I think it's just a matter of taking the time to catch everything up. But the problem is that if technology doesn't slow down, we'll just always be behind.
Yeah, we have a pretty ancient government setup, and the amount of time that it takes to make a decision is pretty rough. And I think that sometimes it's just not taken into account that there are people that are depending on our leaders to make decisions, and it's just not happening, in my opinion.
Well,
I mean, not anything good.
There's also this whole issue that the majority of our leaders are people that don't care about or maybe potentially even know how to use the internet
Lord.
or a computer. So that kind of makes it difficult to get them to approach, understand, and support things that are like, we need to do this for the sake of modernizing to meet the technological age. And they're like, what?
What's that?
I don't know how a mouse works. And it's like, fuck.
What are all these buttons? What is this?
Why can't I do this on paper? Because sit down.
Yeah, hush, hush. We'll get the 21-year-old intern to write your speech for you, sir. Don't worry.
We'll help you. you speak and we'll transcribe. Oh, sadness.
Oh, man. Yeah.
7.
That's rough.
Synthetic alcohol that doesn't cause hangovers or liver damage may be available in 5 years.
Submitted by Fanrific. +1.
To Our World News. Getting there. Anyway.
Okay.
So this is basically what it is thanks to science, we are able to determine which particular things in alcohol affect which parts of the brain. So they are able to, in a lab, create synthetic alcohol that just does what you want. It can never get you drunk because the super drunk effect is actually from you being poisoned. But the things like, you know, taking that edge off from, you know, like a mimosa in the morning, or, you know, getting some extra energy for, you know, serotonin and dopamine production and stuff like that from like a party drink, those effects can be replicated because all of that's interwoven into the general sense that is alcohol. So they can manufacture a synthetic drink that says this will give you the effect of having 2 drinks during, you know, a brunch where you'll just feel just a little bit tipsy and feel a little bit, you know, giddy, or, you know, this will give you that dopamine rush, that serotonin rush, so that you can, you know, really be the life of the party. But they can never get you beyond that because they only activate those particular receptors in the brain when they also can't get you drunk. And because it doesn't actually poison you, you won't have headaches or a hangover.
I see nothing but positives here. If I could just, yeah, I mean, no hangover. That's right there. That's what got me.
Which, I mean,
I like my wines.
Currently, they have this 5-year plan to try and get it passed through the FDA and everything. The alcohol industry is like, yes, we love this idea, especially because we're starting to lose all kinds of business to marijuana. And their only concern is if we can mask the taste, because it probably doesn't taste very good since you made it in a lab. Yes.
Yeah, that's wow, synthetic alcohol. What a time to be alive. We're making it. No hangovers, no vomiting. I mean, no blackouts. I'm down.
I mean, people will probably still go for that. I mean, that some people, that's what they're aiming for, is to just, you know, get as close to death as they can.
Oh God, no. Yeah, I haven't lived that life. I'm not a big drinker. I do enjoy a beer, a glass of wine every now and again. So, I mean, personally, this wouldn't really affect me. I'm not a big drinker, but for those that I do know that like to partake in the alcohols, I know a lot of people that do drink to excess just to get drunk as quickly as possible and black out. But the only thing that I don't love is things that are created in labs. Don't get me wrong, there are some awesome things that have been created in a lab, but I don't know if it's bypassing your liver and not giving you liver damage, then what else could it be damaging? That is my question.
Right, which, I mean, that's largely why we won't even potentially see this for 5 years, because they actually have to do, like, studies and tests to see if it does have any of those, you know, side effects, alternate effects. The problem is that even then we might not see any potential long-term effects either, because, I mean, like, you know, when smoking first came out, they're like, it doesn't seem to have any bad things, and it's like, oops, lung cancer, crap, didn't see
it's
that.
not that bad.
Because it took like 20 years to actually manifest. Oh no. We've killed so many people.
Yeah, 100%. We were talking about that the other day. My friend, she just gave birth to a baby, and we were talking about how in the days of yore, you could smoke a cigarette and have a drink while you were in labor, and now we're just like, oh God, that is so terrible.
That's like, anytime someone's like, man, anytime someone doesn't have a comprehension of how open things used to be, go watch the world's best Christmas movie, which is Die Hard. And in Die Hard,
I have never seen Die Hard. My boyfriend wants me to watch it. He's pushing. I can't watch it. I just have no interest.
Well, that's fine. The point
what's so great about it?
It's a great movie. That I don't. If you're not interested in watching Die Hard, that's fine. The point is that the opening scene to Die Hard, he is on a plane with he's a cop, and he has his gun on his hip, on his holster, while he's smoking a cigarette on an airplane.
Okay, I kind of maybe have to watch that. See, if he would have explained that, I would have watched it. I'm a part-time smoker, I like to call myself.
Oh, okay.
Because I only do it when I feel like it, which is not all the time, most of the time. But I mean, if I could smoke a cigarette on a plane, that'd be cool. That'd be nice.
Which you
can't do that anymore.
Yeah, you used to be able to. Which, I mean, Die Hard is, you know, an older movie. Which it like that opening scene shows how different the world used to be. Because like nowadays we're like, he has his handgun in the cabin on the plane. Oh my God, no. Yep. He's smoking a cigarette just in the cabin on the plane. Oh my God, no. But during the time of that movie, it's like, no, that was real. Yeah, that really was the normal. World. No, nobody. I mean, somebody probably cared, but the vast majority of everyone was just like, yeah, whatever. Anyway,
he's smoking a cigarette. It's fine. He's got his gun on his hip. It's fine.
Will you fly us to New York, please? Like,
Oh,
I got
me.
places to be.
But yeah, no, if my boyfriend would have explained the opening scene like that, because I would love to, just have a cigarette wherever sometimes, even though I know it's not appropriate, it's not healthy, it's not okay. It's convenient, you're lazy, and sometimes you want to smoke, and the world's just not like that anymore. You can't even smoke in a bar. Can't do any of that.
No, sure can't. But alas, the world continues to change around us.
See, but how could this, okay, here's my question. Side note.
Sure.
How could smoking in the cabin of an airplane be okay, back in, like, I like to watch I Love Lucy, so like the 1950s, they were smoking on the airplane, but we don't have the technology to do that now, do we? Or don't we?
Well, it's not a matter of having the technology. It's a matter of that you get to make the
Personal
choice.
opinion.
Well, you get to make the choice to smoke a cigarette, even though you know it is bad for you. You get to make that personal decision. But in things like a building or in a cabin of an airplane, some of it is for safety reasons for like the airplane itself, but largely it's because of the number of people that started developing lung problems and cancer due to secondhand smoke. And so it's not that we don't have the technology to like still filter the air appropriately. It's that you get to make that decision for yourself, but if they allow people to smoke in a restaurant on an airplane, everyone that is choosing to not smoke because of health reasons or whatever no longer gets that option. And so
I know
that's why we don't smoke on planes and stuff anymore. I mean, and even Die Hard, the movie came out in 1988, and it was still, not a problem at that point in time. Really, all of those changes came across in the last like 20 years.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, no, you're definitely right. Because even I started watching Friends, and like I've watched it from the beginning, and you see a lot of the scenes where, Chandler's like smoking in his office and he's smoking inside his house, and it's like not a big deal, even in the late 1990s.
Yep.
But times are changing.
Which, I mean, if you want me to try and pitch any more of Die Hard to you, that's an opening scene that's involved. And the other thing that to me is like a major like factor, if Bruce Willis isn't, is if Alan Rickman is in it, and he's wonderful in everything, and we miss him.
Yeah, he is. Professor Snape, rest in peace.
Moving along.
6.
Charges against Jussie Smollett dropped, attorneys say.
Submitted by Aster J. Our News.
So, we had actually talked about this just a little bit before the show.
Yeah, we did.
The Empire actor Jussie Smollett, who was accused of staging a racist and homophobic attack on himself, the charges were dropped. To summarize why the charges were dropped, there's a lot of factors going into it. The original judge that was put on the case was in contact with Smollett's family, which is a big no-no, so they had to step away. And then there was arguments about, what level the case has been tampered with or not, and whether it's an actual case, whether there's a case to be levied against him in the court of law, instead of just trying to levy a case against him that's based on the court of public opinion, which is literally what the actual attorney said. There's also this really, really garbage argument being put forth because one of the other reasons that the charges are being dropped is because he forfeited his $10,000 bond to the city of Chicago and has already served 16 hours of customer service. Yeah, community service.
Yeah, that's nothing. That's just more of like, I've got money and I'm gonna throw it over here, and now I don't have any charges against me. So I definitely think that this is just another one of those cases where it's somebody who has the means to get out of something that they probably did. I think he definitely hired somebody to stage that attack so he could save his acting career and become a little bit more relevant in the headlines. Because I remember when the article first came out that he was attacked, and there were racial slurs and, said to him. And at first I was like, oh my goodness, that is so crazy. I can't believe this is the world today. That's awful. Like, it's 2019. Everybody needs to get with the program, that it doesn't matter. It's what somebody else does and who somebody else is none of your business. Like, just let them live, let them do their thing. And I remember seeing that first article, and I was just like, man, that poor guy, that's so awful to live in the world in 2019 and have something like this happen. And then a day or two later, it came out that, it was staged, it was fake, he paid people to do it. And my heart broke even more, because I'm like, now we have people paying people to cause all this hate and terribleness that's in the world today. And I mean, that's just how I feel about it. It's very frustrating.
It can just be quickly summarized as people suck.
They do. Some people in this world are real garbage. And I mean, spend your money on something else, something that doesn't inspire hate, something that doesn't inspire so much drama and so much terribleness that's just bringing all this stuff to a head,
Yeah.
We just need to be the change.
See, and the thing that is just the most frustrating is, like what you already mentioned, is that because he is someone relatively relevant and has money, is the largest reason why this is just being set aside.
Yeah.
Whereas
100%.
someone else, well, I mean, I guess if he didn't have money, he wouldn't have been able to pay these guys in the first place. But that's a different conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's also a part of me that wonders if the world wasn't the way it was right now, if the world was a better place, I doubt this would have been a potential option for him in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's messed up, and I wish that things had been differently. I don't know, people are just super irresponsible with their money and doing terrible things with it in this day and age. And I can't even begin to pretend to know that I would know what to do to change that. All I can do is just my little part of being a good mom, being a good human being, and, not paying people to beat me up and say racist comments. Like, that's me putting good into the world.
Yeah, we can hope anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Just keep on trucking.
United States jury says Bayer must pay $81 million to man in Roundup cancer trial.
And this one was submitted by SJC R News.
So Bayer bought the creator of Roundup, Monsanto, last year for $63 billion and then just promptly started getting sued.
Oh, man.
One of which was by a man who was suing them because Roundup, he claimed Roundup caused his cancer, which he was awarded $5 million in compensatory damage.
Compensatory?
Yeah, that word. That one. Thanks. And $75 million in punitive damages after the court found that Roundup was defectively designed, that Monsanto had failed to warn of the herbicide's cancer risk, and that the company had acted negligently in that aspect. And so this is only the second trial involving this of over 11,000 lawsuits against Roundup.
I'm glad that I have no need for Roundup. That's all I can really say about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's rough though to have all of these crazy trials, and I mean, yeah, that's nuts. I'm glad I don't need Roundup for anything. Don't do any lawn care, lawn maintenance where I live.
Well, and the thing that tipped the scale in this particular circumstance was, like, they've had these they've had these cases going on for a long time, but Monsanto for the longest time was able to just kind of push it away and make it go away and stuff like that. But multiple facets. One, we live in the modern age, so information spreads much more quickly now than it did, like 30 years ago. But also, Hardiman's lawyers were able to get previously excluded documents that are internal documents from the company to be presented in the case. And those documents show Monsanto, the original creator of Roundup, in trying to influence and buy scientists and regulators to allow the product to get past safety requirements.
Yeah, I'm noticing a trend in what we're talking about today, just about 95% human garbage.
Hey, look, rich people did something crappy again.
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, those rich people throwing their money where it don't belong.
Hey, we get to talk about a less rich person next who did something also crappy.
Oh, yeah. A less rich person who is also just being irresponsible in a different way.
Let's talk about them now.
4.
Okay.
Video of Alaska father and son illegally killing bear and shrieking cubs has been made public.
Submitted by Norcan 987 R News.
Yeah, so some little local Alaska news made it big on the internet. In April of last year of 2018, a Alaskan father and son were doing some skiing around and found a black bear and their cubs in a small little den and proceeded to kill all of them and then tried to cover up and hide it when they found that the bear was collared and was being monitored by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game.
Bummer. Wrong bear, guys. I mean, that just goes to show you that, there are a lot of irresponsible people in Alaska. I like to pretend that there isn't sometimes, but there is. And it's also sick. Like, my family is a very Alaskan family. We camp, we hike, we shoot guns, we go walk on the beach. We do very Alaskan things, and we would never, ever do anything like this. And for what purpose? Like, why? Why would you do that? It's just a waste, and it's sick.
Because it makes them feel powerful.
That's gross. That's
that's largely...
Find a new hobby, guys, if you need to do that. Like, go do something else in private.
That's largely the reason why. The video even shows them celebrating over shooting sleeping animals. Like...
Yeah.
Congratulations to you. Like...
Yeah, thanks for making our state look like shit, guys. Great.
The father was sentenced to 5 months in jail with 2 months suspended and a fine of $20,000 with $11,000 suspended. And they have to forfeit all of the firearms and everything that was used in those offenses. The son was sentenced to suspended jail time and community service and has to take a hunter safety course. The son got largely reduced punishment because, well, the father was the one that took him there. The father was the one that... He was the instigator and the encourager in this situation, and he's the one that should have known better, so they kind of just, like, slapped the father around.
I don't know. I think that does it say how old the son was?
18.
18. Well, yeah, if he was older, I would say, you're an adult, you make your own decisions, but this kid's, like, fresh out of the gate on the adulthood spectrum, he just turned 18, he's barely a legal adult. And so, yeah, him following what his dad is teaching him. And thank goodness that they punished that dad at least. I don't think it's enough time. That's pretty sick stuff. And to let that guy just go back out there, he needs like some serious help. That's not okay.
He got his hunting license revoked for 10 years.
He needs like counseling. Severe therapeutic, like mental help. Like, because what kind of person rolls up on a bear den and is like, you know what? Let's just shoot them all. Let's have a party here. Like, that's not okay. That's really messed up. That's sick stuff, in my opinion. But yeah, this
trend for the day. People suck.
Yeah, people suck. People are gross.
All right, well, we can move along away from some bad news and move into some good news, if you'd like.
Yeah, let's do. That
3.
Makes me mad.
Scientists collected blood vessel cells from cadavers and used the samples to engineer artificial blood vessels.
And this was submitted by Thorn Zeitkow Object R Science.
That's a name. Man, the internet has some interesting some interesting names. Anyway, so I'm going to try to summarize a bunch of science words and explain what they have managed to do. So
do your best. You can do it.
Thanks. Because currently, if you have cardiovascular issues, if you have a cardiovascular disorder where you have damaged blood vessels, anything like that, the only real option we have right now is trying to take blood vessels from somewhere else in your body and put them there. Now, while we can use cadavers to take blood vessels from those, in both these circumstances, both taking a graft from your body or from a dead person and using it to repair your damaged blood vessels has an extremely low success rate. And I don't mean like super low. It just very often does your body end up rejecting it. And because it lots of factors there. What they have been able to do is they've been able to take cells from a cadaver or even from a living person and grow new blood vessels. Which one means that we don't have to like take blood vessels that you already have. But what they're doing is they have engineered to create blood vessels that are not necessarily the same as your regular blood vessels. They're made out of a very particular part of what creates a vessel. And so they're essentially making as much as I can describe it, a pure tube in the sense of what the actual blood vessel itself is made out of. So that when they put it in there, it's kind of like a more pure tube, to repeat myself, which significantly lowers the chance of rejection. And in the test that they have done, not only have they had little to no rejected tests of the vessel grafts, but the body then attaches itself to this fabricated tube and slowly starts to turn it into a real one, to the point that your body will even regrow the fake tube.
Okay. See, this is something beautiful. This is people doing the Lord's work, making the world a better place, trying to help people, trying to cure diseases. You know, this is the type of stuff that I want to see in the world. You know, big, great discoveries of new things that are going to just help the human race as a whole.
Any breakthrough in science, especially medical science, I am always excited about. Because, like, legit, I have very little interest in growing old and dying. Like, I am aware that that is probably a reality that I cannot escape, and I've accepted that. But if there is the potential that we can live longer or potentially just not die of old age, man, I just get excited about that concept.
I get excited about the better quality of life. I mean, I'm hoping that in the future, instead of like knee replacements, I'll just get like a robot knee and I'll be able to do really cool things with it. That's what I'm looking forward to. But yeah, the artificial blood vessels, that to me is, I mean, that's super helpful, especially coming from a medical background.
Well, and like what you mentioned, you know, a knee replacement, they already have these really interesting, like, massive metal, well, not massive, but like they're able to completely replace the entire joint now with this neat, like, creation of like metal and stuff that just completely acts as an entire knee joint for you, without being like, you know, a bunch of like nails and pins and stuff. It's really cool.
I know. And that is really cool. I just want like an Iron Man knee. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to in the future.
Just a knee that you can just bend and shoot a phaser out the front of?
Yeah, and sometimes I can like reattach it and like hit people with it if I need to, you know, just something real classy like that.
Jennifer in the chat says that this is great help for people with diabetes. Cardiovascular issues happen. I don't actually have the whole chat that's cutting off part of it. Happen a lot with people with diabetes. This treats symptoms. It doesn't cure the diabetes, but makes life so much better. And what's also is great is they've already had successful implementations of these lab-grown blood vessels in living people. It's not just like lab work that they did with a mouse. They've actually managed to do this for realsies.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. I'm into it.
Progress.
The human race.
Transcend our flaws. Because boy, are we flawed creatures.
Oh, boy, we are messed up.
2.
Trump administration reportedly approves secret nuclear power tech sales to Saudi Arabia.
And this one was submitted by Brandon Katrina, Our World News.
All right, we're back to not so great stuff. So, U.S. Energy
and we're back.
U.S. Energy Secretary Rick Perry has approved six secret authorizations by companies to sell nuclear power technology and assistance to Saudi Arabia. Now, this is not purely a United States thing. Saudi Arabia is just in the market for nuclear power technology, and this isn't nuclear weapons, this is nuclear power to create nuclear power plants and things like that. And it's no different than most contract work. There are multiple countries that are bidding to be the person that Saudi Arabia is going to end up buying nuclear power technology from. Other countries that are involved are ourselves, South Korea, Russia, and a couple other countries that are all in the running to win this bid through Saudi Arabia. Now, can this lead to nuclear technology in terms of nuclear weapons for Saudi Arabia? It absolutely can. Saudi Arabia says they will only develop nuclear weaponized technology if their main opponent, Iran, dang it, I forget. If they do as well, Iran. If its rival Iran begins to develop nuclear weapons, then Saudi Arabia says that they will as well, but otherwise they don't have a reason to do so.
Seems like a really bad idea. And yeah, I'm not too... I mean, it doesn't do anybody any good passing out weapons, nuclear weapons. Like, I don't know. It frustrates me. I don't see the need for them. I mean, but everybody has them, so everybody wants them now, I guess.
Well, I mean, nuclear power is pretty incredible. The problem is that it does lead to nuclear weapons, and that's the larger issue at hand. And we weren't initially concerned about sharing the development of nuclear power plants with Saudi Arabia until the absolute murder and dismemberment and attempted cover-up of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi last year. Until that happened, everyone was like, well, Saudi Arabia seems to be all right for, all intents and purposes. And, nuclear energy is better than coal in so many ways, or even burning oil or gas. So, I mean, this is ultimately for the better. And then it's like, well, we're actually a bunch of garbage people. And it's like, God damn it.
Yeah. Let's give them nuclear power. Garbage people. Here you go. Nuclear power. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good idea to me. And I don't know that much about it, to be honest. But immediately when I read this article, I was like, oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, it's not just going to go off completely without a hitch. I mean, now that, like I said, with the murder of Jamal Khashoggi last year and the continued tension around the entire Middle East area, with this nuclear power option being presented to Saudi Arabia, Congress is starting to get much more involved than they were before. There's several members that are wanting to investigate it, including a report that was sent to the Government Accountability Office by Senators Marco Rubio and Bob Menendez to probe the administration's talks with Saudi Arabia about the details of this nuclear power deal. So there is some level of checks and balances being done internally, but that said, it's not going to stop it. I mean, if it ends up that we decide that we're not going to support the idea of selling nuclear power technology to Saudi Arabia, there are still at least two other countries that we know of, South Korea and Russia, that are like, yeah, we'll sell you the details of how to build a nuclear power plant. No sweat, bro.
Yeah. Oh, that's not okay still, but... yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of nuclear power tech being passed around, and I don't know. It just seems like the world is just feeling a little bit unsafer with that kind of stuff going on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, and Jennifer, brings up a similar point in the chat room of that solar power is the better way to go. Nuclear is clean and cheap, but if you make one mistake, then we have just a new Chernobyl in the Middle East. And that's why we have largely veered away from nuclear power as well. Because if everything in a perfect world on paper, it's fantastic until something goes wrong.
Yep, until we have a nuclear plant meltdown and just have a real rough life after that.
We just yeah. If we ever hit the point where we can figure out how to deal with radiation, which right now we have no concept of it. But if we ever figure it out, then, you know, maybe that's something we can consider again in the future.
Perhaps.
All right, more garbage rich people. Yay.
Yay.
1.
Billionaire Sackler family sued by the second United States state over opioid catastrophe.
And this gem was submitted by Tid Gerbil from R News.
So the Sackler family are the people who own Purdue Pharma, which are the people who create OxyContin, which is the largest problem with the opioid epidemic that is plaguing the United States. Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family just settled a lawsuit involving the opioid epidemic with the state of Oklahoma, and they settled for $270 million. That said, New York is stepping up now because New York's happy to just throw bombs at everybody.
Throwing the gauntlet.
Everybody, man. They're just like, I'm suing you. I'm suing you. You suck. Just fuck you in general. I'm going to sue you.
Oh, man, you sound like the Oprah. The Oprah of the legal world. You get sued and you get sued and you get sued.
Absolutely. So anyway, they're suing them over the same stuff. Basically that the Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family bought off and pushed doctors to issue prescriptions, lied about the risk of addiction, ignored red flags from suspicious pharmacies, et cetera, and so on. Basically, they knew that they were just going to make tons and tons of money over the pain and suffering of people. And so New York is suing them for exactly that. They put profit over patients, and they're not having it. And now New York is trying to deal with the after effects of having so many people addicted to painkillers, addicted to opioids, and they're like, we shouldn't be the ones to pay for it. You're the ones that did this. You pay for it.
See, I'm not sure how I feel about this because, it's the doctors that are prescribing it. You need a doctor to prescribe these. And so, and it's a huge problem up here too. I don't know how much you know about the opioid problem up here in Alaska, but I mean, it's definitely something that's pretty near to my heart because I have close family members who suffer from pill addictions. And I mean, it's really awful, but they get them legally from a doctor. That's the part that blows my mind is it's totally unchecked.
Well, and that's also part of the lawsuit, though, because a large part of it is Purdue Pharma lying to or just pushing doctors to make that the choice of prescription. Which, I mean, we would like to believe that the doctors are, a bit more, what's the word I'm looking for in terms of, like, they're a bit more.
Well, they have an oath.
Yeah,
they do no harm, and they're not, doing what they're supposed to do to uphold that oath. So I'm not really sure because I mean, I've worked with doctors, I've worked with nurses, and it's do no harm, do no harm, do no harm. It is drilled into us that we are, supposed to help, not hurt.
Right, but if the company that makes the medicine is lying to you about the medicine and says that it won't hurt people, then you're still relatively within the bounds of that oath. And it's only really come up recently just how destructive all of this is.
Well, I mean, I've known how destructive it is for a long time, and I'm a CNA. I'm a certified nurse assistant. I'm not even a doctor, but I mean, and it's known. It's known that it can be damaging. I mean, a pill problem, it's only getting worse, but it's been a problem for a long time. And I mean, throughout the entire history of pain medications, there has always been some kind of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if this, if the Sackler family is responsible for this in a way that they are, doing some type of illegal practice and, not giving full information or, I mean, like have they done anything to, other than misleading doctors, have they done anything else to try and get them to prescribe it? Just pushing and being, really, just really on it about getting this medication out there to people.
I mean, because it has to be a doctor that prescribes it, they're not advertising OxyContin to the patient. They're advertising OxyContin to the doctor. So they have to do everything they can to convince the doctor to make OxyContin the right choice for the prescription, which largely they have been pushing them, and they've even lied to doctors about the risk of addiction and the after effects and things like that are involved with products like OxyContin. So, I mean, while yes, it is the doctors that are prescribing the medication, they're going off of the information that is provided to them by the people that want them to prescribe that information, which, I mean, maybe they should have a higher level of skepticism because they know that these people profit from these products. But I don't know, especially with how difficult it is to get even medicine that seems to be truly beneficial pushed through the FDA because of the vast amount of lobbying and just underhanded subterfuge that is done by big pharma corporations. I mean, there have been so many things that would be good for humanity that the pharmaceutical industry just literally just bombs out of the water because it would hurt their bottom line.
Yeah. And, if they can, whatever they can do to try and bring these people down a notch and realize that they're causing a huge problem. It's a huge problem. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are people out there that need pain medication, and there are healthier ways to relieve your pain. It's an epidemic. It's something that really needs to be taken care of. And, if this lawsuit goes through with New York, maybe it'll take them down a peg, or maybe, I don't know. It seems like every time some big corporation like this, or, someone who has a lot of money, again, they just throw money somewhere and problems disappear. And it's not okay.
I don't think it'll take them down a peg. The only way to all of this is a level of a result of the continued problem with later stages of capitalism, of that we don't have a level of competition anymore. The people with the money are the people that are making the decisions, that are calling the shots. They have bought off congressmen to the point that they are locking everything up in such a way to benefit off of the poor and the suffering, because they just want to see that arrow go up on their graphs. It's about profits over anything else. And so until there is some sort of substantial change to the way that business is done or to the way that business is regulated, we won't see a change. They'll pay $270 million to Oklahoma and not care. They'll pay $300 million in a settled case to New York and not care, and continue to do things the way that they always have been, because it benefits them the most when it comes to shareholder dividend payouts and just general net revenue increases. And that won't change until someone forces it to change, and lawsuits like this aren't what will cause a change in that area.
I know. And it's sad that we can, speak about this so openly and know that there's a problem, and what can we do though? What can we do?
Largely nothing. You can write you can write
angry letters, angry fist shaking letters.
I mean, you can write your congressman, but in terms of Alaska, you have one that might listen to you. Lisa Murkowski might be willing to entertain a thought, but the Sullivan and Young are just dead ends.
I know, and I know they're just going to throw money at it, and it's going to be done, taken care of. But I don't know. I just don't know how you can sit there and just be okay with the fact that you're making money off of human tragedy and suffering. That wouldn't sit well with me, but
I think largely it's an out of sight, out of mind type situation of these people are just the people that make the pills. So they don't see anything beyond the pills they make and the money they make from it. They don't have to think anything beyond that.
Which is sad. I mean, I don't know. Ignorance is bliss it's not a way to live.
I don't know for certain. That's just a guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit which button? This one.
You make me sad.
Shelby, what'd you care about over the last week?
What did I care about over the past week?
Or month. You've not been here before. What'd you care about in recent times?
Oh, in recent times. Well,
I have a small little Jennifer whispering behind me that she knows what you cared about, but I don't know what that is.
Oh, yes. So recently I have gotten engaged.
Ooh!
Yes. And also,
congratulations.
Thank you. My friend had a baby. So that happened on Monday. And then my friend had her baby on Wednesday. So I have been completely overjoyed. Like, this is one of the happiest times of my life. You know,
Heck yeah.
I have a wonderful, supportive partner. And then there's a new little baby for me to snuggle on. So yes, Jenny knows everything good that has been happening lately. She is my work mother. I come to her for wisdom and guidance.
That's a whole bunch of wonderful.
Yes, lots of wonderful.
Oh, Jennifer is spamming heart reactions in the chat room.
I love her. She's great.
She is great. I agree. I might be extremely biased.
Yeah, you would agree. Though. You're biased.
I might be marrying her in like 62 days. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, you should know that there is a plan in place. Should things go awry, I will run in and fireman carry. Just know that if you see me Kool-Aid man bust into your wedding, just like, don't panic. I'm just coming in there to fireman carry your future wife out of there.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Well, that was wonderful. I don't know what I'm going to care about because trying to follow up brand new BB and getting engaged are kind of hard to follow up on. What did I care about in the last week? I don't know. My show?
Your show? Yeah.
Wait.
I mean, it's I like it. That's something good to care about.
Background. What's up? Which show? You just mean the YouTube stuff in general? Yeah. I launched, so iReadit used to be a 4-day-a-week show, but after Nathan's change in schedule and stuff like that, we just had to move it to once a week during Sunday mornings. And right after we made that change, I just kind of felt really lost because I always had this creative outlet to podcast through and talk through 4 days a week. It was Monday through Thursday, every single week. That's how we climbed up to 500 episodes so quickly, because we were doing like 250 episodes a year or something crazy like that. And so I just had this like level of loss of like, I don't know what I'm doing now, because I had been just putting, like, it was just part of my consistent schedule. And so a month ago, or not quite, on the 3rd, I launched my own YouTube channel as well as a Twitch channel. So I have been creating YouTube videos and doing Twitch streams for the last month. And Jennifer says she's the worst prompter from the weeds back here. It's not that you're a bad prompter. It's that with these headphones on and everything, I can't hear. And so she's saying the thing that I cared about in the last week is it's my own creative projects, which I think in a lot of ways is true. I've been putting a lot of time into them. I've really been enjoying them. I would really like a house with a room to do them in, though, because we're just trying to make everything work in our little apartment. And let me tell you, it can be real constrained at times.
Real cramped.
Yeah, especially because like with the podcast, I just kind of sit at my computer and I have this little partition that I set up behind me. But the YouTube production requires lights and green screens and stuff like that. And like, while it ends up working out really well, and I'm pretty happy with the product that I am putting out, it is a cramped space at times. There's also the problem of like wanting to make sure that things are relatively quiet in terms of so there's a video that is coming out later today. It's a first impression video on the sitcom It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
I love that show.
I have never watched any of that show at all. I knew nothing about it. The only things that I could have told you before I watched the first episode of the show was that Dennis is the man, and I don't even know why. That's just that's just an internet meme that's everywhere, is that Dennis is the man.
He is the man.
And that Danny DeVito's in it, and that
Yep.
I had seen some scene involving Mac and a box of Hornets, and that's it.
I have a lot of love for Charlie Day, like a lot, an unhealthy amount almost.
Well, if you want to, presuming that it doesn't just get initially nuked by copyright, because I've already ran into that fun bout of exchange once. Presuming that it doesn't get nuked by copyright, I'll be putting my impression of the first episode up today, which also involved the first episode because I react to it live while I'm watching it. You're welcome to check that out if you'd like to do so. Yeah, I laughed. I enjoyed it. I appreciated that it didn't have a laugh track. That said, I probably won't watch more of it just because it has 13 seasons. Holy garbage.
But that's how great it is.
I believe
how great it is.
Any show at all that gets even relatively beyond like 50 episodes, I'm initially like just done. Like,
whoa.
Like, if it gets more than 50 and I wasn't already in at the ground floor, like when it started, I just can't. There's too much for me. I don't want to try and play that catch-up game. I can't bring myself to do it because, like,
It's a fun game. Come on.
I want to enjoy other things. And not just have a life and time consumed by one particular show. But no, I really have been enjoying the things that I've been creating. If you want to look to anyone that is listening or watching or anything like right now, if you want to go find that, you can just go to Swan Song Productions. It's on YouTube, it's on Twitter, it's on Reddit. Although almost everything it's under Swan Song Prod because either Swan Song Productions is too long or there is these people that created like 1 year's worth of photography stuff under the title in the United Kingdom and have done nothing with it since. So thank you to you people for taking a name that is in no way unique. So is
it Swan Song Productions or Schwan Song Productions?
It is Swan, because
one opportunity missed.
Hey, one, not a missed opportunity because my name literally means swan in German, and two, no one can spell my name to save their life, so I would just be doing myself no favors by trying to get people to spell my name because.
It's more fun to say Schwan Song.
I won't disagree with you.
Schwan Song Productions.
But again, I can maybe count outside of people who know me well, like people like if I say my name and then someone tries to spell it, I can probably count on two hands the number of times that it has been spelled correctly on the initial try. Mostly just because I have this extra H in there. It's SCHWAHN. And there's an ice cream company and a frozen food company that is called Schwan Foods. And it doesn't have that second H. It's just SCHWAN, which is how people spell it a lot. Although I also sometimes randomly get like SCHWANN, and I've not seen that one before, like anywhere in any official capacity. So,
well, opportunity missed, in my opinion.
That's fine. It's too late now. Stuck to it. Right.
Far too late.
It's too late. All right, anyway, we will go ahead and begin getting out of here, though. So everybody, if you would consider supporting the show, again, patreon.com/dailyinternet. Pick up some merchandise in the link below. Tell us what you want us to talk about. It doesn't even have to be recent news. It doesn't even have to be news. If you want us to talk about something, drop us a line. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram and Reddit, all of those are at iReaditCast. If you want to follow me on social media, I am at Schwan Michael. Nathan, who is not here, is at Bibbenstein. I will let Shelby say whatever she would like to say in terms of anything at all, because I don't know how open she is to being like, "Hi, Internet, this is me." So, hi, Shelby. How are you?
I'm pretty open to it, but so you can find me on Instagram at Shelby Wanderlust. SHELBYWANDERLUST. I do love getting to know people, and I talk to strangers a lot, mostly just to get to know them and hear their story because that's who I am. But yeah, I had a great time. Thanks for having me on the show, Michael.
Oh, so speaking of talking to strangers and making friends and stuff, did you know that there is a Tinder for friendship?
That's not real.
It is. It is called Patook, PATOOK, and it is literally just like Tinder, but is specifically created to create platonic friendships.
I don't believe that.
That's fine. You are welcome to look it up yourself if you disbelieve me. No. Again, it is called Patook, PATOOK, and it is dedicated to just making friends, regardless of whether they are people near you or people on a worldwide scale. Because making friends can be difficult for a lot of people in a lot of ways. So yeah, if you are interested in a Tinder for friendship, it is called Patook. Hashtag not spawned. They are not a sponsor. I just enjoy the fact that they exist.
Patook.
Patook. I don't.
Patook.
Patook. Anyway.
I love it.
Thank you to everyone watching and listening to the show. That is your 540th dose of the internet. Once again, as a reminder, we go live at 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Let us know just how wonderful Shelby is for joining us, and thank you, Shelby, for being here. It was a delightful time. So without further ado, everyone, we'll talk to you another time. Goodbye. Oh wait, I'm supposed to hit this button, right?
Well, I didn't vote for you.
Right? Because you all suck. All right. Bye.